What are the pros and cons of living in Prosper, Texas? This is one of the most common questions that I get from clients that are considering moving into the area and are looking at Prosper in a very intentional way. So if you're thinking about moving to Prosper or simply want to learn more about the city, you don't want to miss this video. So make sure to stay to the end because there's some cons to Prosper that will not only surprise you, but may actually end up costing you. And if we're just meeting, hey, my name is Jaime. Welcome to the DFW Homeowner YouTube channel, where you'll find real estate information that nobody else is sharing with you. All right, so let's dig in. Prosper, Texas is located at the northernmost part of the DFW Metroplex. And in a not so distant past, Prosper was actually considered way out of town, way away from the DFW Metroplex, but that is of course no longer the case. Which brings us to pro number one, which is the housing options that you have. At this point, you have so many developers and so many builders in Prosper that are building housing left and right. So regardless of the type of housing that you need, trust that if it's not there right now, give it about a week and it will certainly be built, because that's how quickly Prosper is growing. In fact, it's one of the fastest growing cities in the entire country. And as you may or may not know, in this particular channel, we are huge proponents of new construction because they generally have favorable rates. You have plenty of options to choose from. You have a ton of buyer incentives, and there's just so much value that you get with new builds. And of course, right now, Prosper has plenty of land to grow into. It's not city locked like a lot of the metropolitan areas in the DFW Metroplex. And the second pro has to be the school system. It just seems that every other day Prosper is on the news for hitting a brand new ranking in a national poll when it comes to the school ISD. And I'm not even referencing Prosper building what could be the most expensive high school football stadium in the country. So it's no wonder the district took the #1 ranking for best school districts for athletes in Collin County, and the second ranking for the best school districts to teach in. And given that I'm a real estate professional, there's certain things that I can't get into when it comes to schools. So I'm going to leave a ton of resources linked down below for you. But what I can say is that the recent schools that have been built and the schools that are getting approved right now to be built are going to be as modern as they come. And of course, for pro number 3, I have to absolutely mention this. And that is the fact that Prosper has the Lagoon. This phenomenal development that will absolutely blow your mind the first time that you see it is first of its kind to have ever been built here in the DFW Metroplex. The lagoon itself is a 5-acre freshwater lagoon, which has white sand beaches, kayaking, paddleboarding, beach volleyball, children's play areas, and so much more. Now you also have plenty of event spaces and amenity centers for your recreational needs. Seriously, this is one of those locations that you have to check out at least once in order to really appreciate it. Now, overall, Prosper still feels like a small town. Now, will it continue feeling that way for long? Probably not, but right now it still has managed to keep some of that charm, some of that small town feel. Oh, and by the way, if you're finding value in this video, go ahead and comment down below what you like or don't like about Prosper. All right, so now that we've talked about some of the highlights of Prosper, let's talk about some of the lowlights. What are the cons of living in Prosper, Texas? All right, so for con number 1, I'm going to combine a few categories. For con number 1, I'm going to combine traffic, location, and commute because I think they blend in together. Right now, when it comes to traffic, getting out of Prosper and even commuting within Prosper is a bit problematic because you have a lot of infrastructure that hasn't been built up yet. Yes, there's billions upon billions of dollars getting poured into Prosper to build out that infrastructure, to build these developments and everything in between, but you're still talking about retrofitting a small town with big city amenities. And one of the biggest hurdles for every single suburb that is going through these growing pains is the road system. Now, one of the challenges that you're going to have if you're living in Prosper and having to commute to work, and it doesn't even matter where, if you're commuting to the east or to the west or to the south, you're going to have some problems. You're going to be in your car a little bit. Now, some of that traffic and commute will be alleviated as soon as the Dallas North Tollway continues to be built all the way through Prosper. But you're still a few years out from that actually happening. So in other words, if your life happens to be within a 5-mile bubble, you're going to be in a good spot. But if you have to travel beyond that, expect traffic jams and also expect to pay a lot of money in tolls. Now, as a reminder, I did end up combining the traffic, location, and commute into one single con because they all bleed in together. So let's talk about con number 2, which is the weather. This is one that I can personally attest to because I actually cannot count the amount of times that I've had to take my car in for hail damage repair. Now, to be fair to Prosper, this was actually when I lived a little bit west in Denton, not Prosper, that I was getting caught in all of these hailstorms. However, extreme weather is not that much better in Prosper. Now, I'm no meteorologist, but I can tell you for a fact that the hail damage in the northern part of the DFW Metroplex is crazy. It is a huge difference between living in the northern part of DFW and the southern part, because I lived in both, and the amount of insurance claims that I've had to put to roofs into cars in the northern part of DFW versus the southern part of DFW, there's no comparison. So just bake that into the cake. Extreme weather is going to happen. Now, the third con to living in Prosper is that there is no nightlife. You're gonna have great restaurants, and you're gonna have even better restaurants as the city continues to grow. But if you're looking for a night out on the town, Prosper's not it. You're still gonna have to come down the tollway to places like Uptown or Deep Ellum, or places that actually have a nightlife. Now, if you're an individual that's in bed by 9 or 10 like me, then it's not even a con. I just have to point that out for those of you that are going to go out. With that being said, with Prosper, expect top of the line everything. This is one of the most modern, one of the fastest growing cities. This is one of the best cities to actually live in. But understand that the night is darkest just before the dawn, meaning expect construction everywhere. But once the construction is out of the way, you're going to have a lot of fun in Prosper. Now, if you're still vetting out Prosper for a potential place to live and want a more comprehensive view that talks about Prosper from its starting point, check out this video right here. And if you want the list of our preferred homes in Prosper, check out the link in the description.